Welcome to Brandon in Iowa, 2023 Iowa gun season, part 2. Hey there. So I thought I'd do a part 2 of my 2023 Iowa gun season, Shotgun 1, and talk a little bit about my rifle setup, what I'm using, how I got there, and how it's going. So what we're looking at here is a Bear Creek Arsenal 350 Legend upper with the 16-inch barrel, the standard rear charging handle. Personally, I just like the rear better than the side charging, the aesthetic of it anyways. And then I paired that with the PSA MOE. I can't remember if they call it a stealth lower with the enhanced polished trigger. And I will say I do like that trigger just a little bit better than mil-spec. It just seems like it's got a little less creep and breaks a little bit more crisp. So that works out well. And then we topped it off with a SIG Romeo 5 red dot. And then, of course, added our Magpul MS1. You can see there's even a leaf still on there from last deer season. But MS1 sling. And the setup works pretty well. And I can't remember if I told you. I put this together back in 2020. My first year out in the field didn't go so great. Had a lot of feeding issues, chambering issues, and I attribute that mostly to these 150 grain Winchesters. That sharp tip, for whatever reason, just doesn't like to feed up there well, and it'll go about 3/4 of the way in, and seem to like to jam, I believe if I remember right, up like that. But anyways, yeah, didn't like those too well, but did a heck of a lot better with these 180 grain lead nose power points. This one was probably chambered but never fired because the lead nose is a little boogered up there. But did a lot better with those, and I've had this gun out 3 years in a row now. And this last year, it ran the best it's ever run. There were a couple different deer that I shot at. The first first one or two, I'm trying to remember now, I missed. Just had the buck fever and wasn't holding steady enough. And yeah, that is what it is. But taking several shots, the gun cycled flawlessly. No issues at all. My boy runs a arrow upper. I can't remember what lower he runs it on, but he runs an arrow upper, and he actually had a couple of feeding issues with that 180 grain. So I was pretty happy that my Bear Creek outperformed this year. And if you watched my other video, you saw I did take 2 bucks. So it was a good year. But you know, why did I switch to the AR platform over what I started out with here? Was this Mossberg 835 Ultimag. And we are running, I believe, a 20-inch barrel on that guy. And you can see a much longer stock. Just the overall length difference for navigating through the woods is huge. Me being 5'7" on a generous day, probably 5'6", the AR platform just fits so much better. So that's all I guess I wanted to highlight for you guys was, the only other thing that I did with this gun this year was really just oiled up the bolt real good. You can maybe, I don't know, see a little bit of oil seeping out back here, but just ran it wet, and like I say, it ran great. So was super happy with it this year. But just thought I would take a couple minutes to show you that. And I will show you a picture of the bucks I got. And I don't think the bigger one, I don't remember if you can see the antlers real well. So this is our rack that we got off that guy, off of our 8-pointer. Not too shabby. And we are going to do a European mount on the skull. So I'll try to remember to show you guys how that comes out. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Not very hard at all, but yeah, it's something on the to-do list yet. Well, the only thing we have left to do now is to officially prove Joy Bear wrong, that you can't use an AR-15 for hunting purposes, and head down to the Milo meat locker and pick up our deer. So come along.
I didn't get a chance to weigh in on the topic of what happened in Maine and AR-15s.
Yeah, I would love to see an assault weapons ban. Like President Reagan, I don't believe they're a sport or hunting instrument. It's like shooting fish in a bucket, but that's my
But also, if you shoot with an AR-15, let's say you shoot a deer, you can't eat it. Because you basically demolish the animal.
In addition to that, but the hunt is about...
Time to go get the meats. Alright, here we are at the Milo meat locker and grocery. So they process cuts from local farmers, beef, pork. They source local eggs, so you know, a little bit of a benefit over going to just the chain grocery stores. So I'll try to give us a little look around here, a little tour. Of course, here's our dairy case with the farm fresh eggs. And of course we've got some merchandise here. And I'll tell you, this store is night and day different from what they started out with across the street. They've done game processing for quite a while, but recently moved to this much bigger building. They got some of their own spices. And like I say, just some traditional grocery items. Alright, we got it loaded up here. And check out this haul. Mostly sausages. You can see we got sticks, breakfast sausage, Italian sausage, summer sausages, lots of good stuff that we'll end up dividing up amongst all of our hunting party here. We all pitch in and pay for the processing, and I'll get some of the meat. Alright, well, thanks for tagging along here, and this will be kind of to wrap up our 2023 deer season with our jalapeno cheddar stick. Yeah, that's good stuff. Stay tuned for the next adventure.